Okay, if you're watching this stream, this is a live feed of trustee candidate Mrs. Martha Wiens, and she is joining Central Elementary students to help them in the voting process for the parallel election with student vote. So I just wanted to thank Mrs. Wiens for coming in and helping Central students better understand government. So we'll get the presentation started right on time for a change.
That's the video.
Yeah, so Mrs. Wiens, if you could maybe start by telling us a little bit of the role of a school board trustee.
Hello, thank you very much for letting me come. I'm more excited about this part of the show when I can see the students. This is where I like to be. But we know that to have a school, we have people in charge that build schools. We have staff that comes in to teach you. And when things happen in schools that require some funding, tax dollars, your mom and dad's money, we have people in charge of that too. At this level in Chilliwack at Central School, there's an office, and maybe you've seen the office of the district. There's a mayor, there's aldermen, and we're in another building, but we are the Board of Education. And Board of Education is there for you. That's the main part you want to remember. There's people that elected, people that let their names stand and say, I'd like to be on that board. And there will be 7. There's more than that going on the slate, but there's 7 that will be elected. And often they're asked, like, why do you want to be on the board? Like, what will you do? How can you help? And I always say, I just want to be with the children and I can see what they need. Then I can advocate and talk to the other trustees or to the parents or whatever and say, maybe we could do something that will help the school and the students. That's a very, very best part, and that's the most exciting and most important part for me. I've been a board member, that's a title, and for 25 years in Chilliwack. And my children were in school when I started, and we had 2, and they went to public school, and they graduated from Chilliwack Senior. And then, before I knew it, there were 4 grandchildren, and of course, then they grew up, because you remember, I've been there for a few years, and they went to school. And of course, that was my pleasure, just to start the kindergarten classes all over again. And they were in the public school, and they graduated from Chilliwack Senior. Today, I've got to tell you, I've got 5 great grandchildren in the schools. I don't think this is ever going to stop in my time. But they're in. I've got 2 in elementary, and there's 2 in middle school, and 1 is in high school in Sardis, and she will be graduating this year. So I've had a long history with students. I have enjoyed everything I could do. The part I like too is when I get to be a trustee, you first of all have to get knowledge so you know where you can fit in and how far you can go, because I'd probably spoil you all if I really could. And then the next thing is that we have to become acquainted, and we have to know what to do that's in the rules. Have I got a chair? It's really nice to have you. So this is the time of the year that I am running for school board again. This will be my last term, I'm sure. I said that the last time too. But just before I made a full decision about this, I was taking a walk around the new school, the Chilliwack Senior, and I heard my voice, Martha, and this young man came running, and he said, I've been wanting to talk to you, and I didn't know where to find you. And he was a student that had been in Chance Alternate, that's another school in the district, and he came there. The alternate school takes care of children that are maybe not as happy, maybe not as fortunate as you are in having parents at the same place. Some of them have to stay in foster homes. But anyway, he came. He was a happy little guy. And I lost track of him. but he graduated. He went on to Chilliwack Senior, and he graduated. Now he wanted to talk to me and tell me what had happened to his life. And I felt very privileged. I felt so lucky that somebody would seek me out and want to share what they were doing. And he could never come and see me before, but I showed him my house, not far from the high school. I said, you know, now that you've graduated and you may need advice once in a while, you're very welcome to come to that gray house and ring my doorbell and I'll speak to you. And then I went back home and I thought, well, maybe I should just be on the board one more time, just in case somebody else wants to talk to me. And that's why I'm here. So what will I do? First of all, we're going to get elected on the 15th of this month. We will have some new trustees, I hope. And we'll have to get acquainted and we'll get kind of into it, you know, where we feel comfortable with everybody. And everybody gets a committee to work on. It could be on kindergarten, it could be Aboriginal, it could be many things that happen in school. A committee for safety, and we'll find that out after we're elected again. So I've been on a committee all these years, and I've had some very good committees, still have them. And I would tell you about the committees that I've served that have been very good for you are the committees that do charitable work for the schools. You know how many times, well, you must have had displays here and presentations from the BC, not the BC Lions, but the Lions Club?
Yeah.
Kiwanis?
Yeah.
Lions? And what's the other one?
Rotary.
Yeah, that's right, Rotary. And you know, they come up if we need something. If I need something for a school that we're doing a fundraiser or something like that, and I go to any one of those and say, you know, tonight we're just going to maybe be a little short of this or that, they come forward and they're so generous. And they do many other things. They provide lunch programs. They fund events for schools in sports. I think field trips come under that too. So, you know, that's the wonderful part of being a trustee, to work with the community and see what they'll do for our kids. And I want you to know they really, really love you. When it comes to the need of a child, those clubs would spare nothing. They would do anything they could. And I want to be one of those. Okay, then the other thing is that we're all given schools, and you know how many schools we have in this district? We just figured it out with Mr. Lister. We have about 30 schools. There's 7 trustees. So each trustee gets maybe 5 schools, maybe 6. And those are our schools to visit. Those are our schools. We call them our liaison schools. And I spend a lot of my time in the schools. I go to schools that aren't even my liaison schools because I have the luxury. I live alone and my children are grown up. I can now spend it on school time. And I go to schools. I do so much work. I sometimes just take off my trustee hat and I go as a volunteer. We did lunch at Chance yesterday. And when there's the Terry Fox run at Little Mountain, I'm the one that stands at the corner, makes sure the kids are safe and turn the right corner. And there's other things we do. That's part of a trustee's job. That is also our job if there's a need in the school. We have a need at Shiam right now for a playground. They condemned the playground at Shiam because it was old and wooden. And you know how they condemn them? They mow them down so we can't for sure get on them and get hurt. So right now, that is a problem, or that is something we're working on at Shiam. So there's other things too. We're very mindful of safety that you are entitled to. I'm very happy when I see happy kids in the school and happy teachers, and you know, most of them in Central I think are very happy. So those are part of the things. We have to also go to meetings a lot. And I never miss a meeting, and I'm never late. I guess that's part of my traditional thing because I was taught to be that, and I always in attendance. And when it comes time for your class to go to graduation, awards night, I would be in every audience because I think it is so exciting when a student gets to that point. Now they get their awards, and I just want to see that so badly. What else can I tell you? I do what I can. I'm busy, very busy. I try and fit in, but it mostly where it always has to benefit the children, and mostly where I see the children. Now, would they want questions?
Yeah, thank you. So essentially we're looking for 5 questions. So have a look at your little question sheet there. And if you remember, let's not repeat questions. So if your question has been asked, let's not ask it again. We don't want to waste Mrs. Wiens' time. So original questions. And Mrs. Wiens, if you don't mind, for the purpose of the people on the other end of the internet, I'll repeat the question.
I would.
Because some of my students have soft voices.
Yeah, and would you just pick the student that would do that?
Yeah. Cameron, can you ask your question?
Would you get every student like a laptop or something?
So the question was, if elected Mrs. Wiens, would you try to have more technology in schools so that kids have a device each?
Mm-hmm.
That was your question? More technology? I like to think back on the years where we had no technology. When I went to school, there was nothing like that. When my children were in school, there was no technology. We did just fine without it. But we have come so far with technology, I know that we can never turn back. We can now just go ahead, maybe improve it. But technology in our schools, I think we have to budget, and I think technology in District 33 has had lots and lots of money to improve on it. Do you think of something that you'd like to see? Until what would you think of wanting more of?
What would you like to see, Cameron?
Well, that's fair. That's fair. We can't always put our finger right on it.
Had one laptop.
Okay, so I think you would like to see more laptops.
Oh yeah, well, hey, that you don't have laptops.
We do, but not one for each student. I think that's what he's looking for.
Well, you know that's cool. You deserve that. So I know you can do a lot on a laptop. So then I hope that you'll get them. I really do. I wouldn't promise anything today because we'll just hit everything and the day we'll see where we go.
Of course. Cheyenne?
If elected, would you put a cafeteria in our school?
Okay. So if elected Mrs. Wiens, would you put a cafeteria in elementary schools? Where I guess hot lunches would be served instead of kids bringing their own?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you not have a lunch program here?
Yeah, we do.
You do? Is it for everyone?
No.
Is it for
It's for those who need it right now.
the lower grades?
No, anyone who needs it.
Okay,
Anyone who doesn't have a
alright.
lunch.
Bowls of Hope?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good, but you'd like a cafeteria. Well, you know what? I'm just going to remind you that you're going to be graduating. You're going to go up to middle school. They'll have cafeterias there in some cases. And when you get to the high schools, they have really fine cafeterias. So maybe you're going to have to wait for that. I'm not sure. Maybe something will come on our way that we will have cafeterias. I can't see it happening right now. But when you do get to that experience, I hope it'll be really great. Is that enough?
Thank you. Ethan?
If I left you, do you think maybe you could add like an extra recess time after lunch around 1:30 to 1:45?
Why would you call it extra?
Well, it wouldn't be like extra. It would be like another recess time because, my mom said that when she was a kid, she used to have recess.
So would it be in the morning and another one in?
The recess at the normal time at like 10:10.
Okay.
Then 12:05 for lunch, and then at 1:30 you'd have one and
Oh, wow.
another recess until 1:45.
It sounds interesting to me. I'm just wondering how that fit in with your classes. And and school events. But you know, if that is what you'd like, you want to remember that and you want to bring that forward. I have never given that much thought because ever since I was in school, and that's been a long time ago, we only had recess in the morning and later on in the afternoon. But I hope if that's really what this class would like, and think about it, and if it'll happen, I'll be happy.
Thank you. Angelina?
If I elected you, would you make like the intermediate playground kind of like bigger, like more equipment?
In here, in Central.
Yeah, like on like the intermediate side, like on the playground.
Oh, there is an intermediate side, right?
Yes, we have an intermediate playground. Angelina's question is, would you make it more, would you make more equipment for them to play on? So I think you were talking about slides and more swings. So just a larger playground, I think, is what she's asking, Mrs. Wien.
If I was elected, you know, I have been elected 8 times, and I haven't been able to do everything that people wanted. There has never been maybe enough money, maybe not even enough support. I would like to see your playground be just right for this school, for the number of students, for the different age groups. I would like that. I'm sorry if you don't have that. Let's try for it. You know, I mean, Central is known to make things happen that other schools don't know anything about, and I'm very proud of that. So I guess I could say to you that I can understand why you would want that. I can. So let's hope and wait and see what happens. If it comes by, let me know.
And our last question, Drayden.
If elected, would you make busing cheaper for like field trips and stuff? And would you give teachers more money for like the busing? Because
Transportation is busing.
Yeah,
It's expensive. It's very expensive. There are rules as far as transportation busing goes of how far you want to remember, we also have to answer to the Ministry of Education. We're the Board of Education, but the ministry in Victoria is a level that we have to follow. And they have a guideline of how far you can bus students. You have to be so far from your home where that comes in. Somebody right across the road here wouldn't get the same busing as somebody that would be living maybe on Yale Road, down the road a little bit in that area. So do you understand, like, what would be within the realm of busing has to be reasonable. I don't hope kids never have to go too far, but without busing. But I think in some cases it's about, and I'm not sure, I'm not going to quote you on maybe a mile, I'm not sure. So we would have to look at that. I want to tell you that if you have any questions that you have, your parents can always phone me and get an answer. I get lots of phone calls from parents, and I never, ever neglect them, and I always answer them. But it isn't always an answer they want. But yeah, I'm interested in having schools really have their needs met.
And Mrs. Wiens, we have one more question, and this is to help students just kind of put it all together into one kind of idea to make it easier for them to vote. So we've been asking candidates if they are elected, or in your case, re-elected, what is one thing that you would like to do in that term that you're going to go into? So what is the main thing that you would like to achieve, or the main thing you would like to do in that term?
Well, there are things that I think are very necessary in our schools. And you're grade 4 and 5. 5 and 6. Okay, you're going to be going out into middle school. It's in middle school that I find we're not meeting the needs of the students, mainly because, I don't know, maybe class size could be one of them, I'm not sure. But we have to change it. The needs of the student, like 2, 3, 4, 5, all of them have to be met. So you get the ability to have the very best education that you can. Some It varies. You may need very little extra. You may need a lot extra. Doesn't matter. You're entitled to your education. So I think in this next term, I am really going to zero in on middle school because that you will understand the term completion, but completion is when you're finished. Our completion rate is not good. So let's see if I can do it if I'm elected. First I have to get elected. If I don't get elected, I'll be home visiting volunteer schools, whatever. I'll find something to do.
So, Mrs. Wiens, on behalf of Central Elementary, it's first of all, it's an honor for you to come here after spending 25 years of service, and we appreciate you giving up your time to come and help us and answering our questions. And we'd like to give you a round of applause just for your presentation. So thank you.
I'm honored, just totally honored.
So I'm just going to close this presentation now officially, Mrs. Wiens. So that was our conclusion of our Mrs. Martha Wiens' presentation for School Board for Central Elementary students. thank you for joining us. And we will be back later with Mrs. Karen Jarvis. So thanks for joining us.